This will be Air Force's 6th appearance in the bowl game, which is the most by any school in the country. It is Baylor's first appearance and the first time that we have hosted a Big 12 school since 2005, when the University of Kansas came. It's a special year for the bowl game. This is the 20th anniversary of the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. The game will be played on Thursday, December 22nd and 6:30 Central Time, prime time kickoff. So looking forward to it. It'll be at TCU's campus. Amon Carter Stadium is the site here in Fort Worth. So we will go ahead and get started. If everybody's ready here, we'll just going to ask for kind of an opening statement here from Air Force. If we could have Nathan join us, we'll get him to give an opening statement, and we can ask questions as we go, and we'll get in with Coach Calhoun then as well.
Sure. Well, thanks, Drew. I guess first and foremost, thanks to Brant and the entire team at the Armed Forces Bowl for the invitation. We're excited for the opportunity to come back to Fort Worth and play in this bowl game.
Well, hopefully he can jump back on here soon. But I'm going to echo what he's going to say. You know, we're so fortunate to have Air Force Academy in our game, and we look forward to hosting Coach Calhoun and his team once again. And it's been quite some time since we've been able to have them in the Armed Forces Bowl. We love having Air Force. They stand for everything that our game represents. And we're very just overall excited. It's been about 6 or 7 years since we've been able to have the Air Force Academy, and we know they have a great team this year, sitting there at 9-3, and Coach has done a wonderful job. So look forward to having them, and I think we got a great matchup though against Baylor. Not having a Big 12 team for quite some time is something we've been striving for years. We've been fortunate to make that matchup work this year. I think the stadium's going to be full, similar to the one that's sitting behind me, just thanks to the two teams that are going to be bringing great fan bases. So looking forward to it. Oh, looks like Nathan's back. Or is he?
I couldn't tell if he went out or I went out, but I can't. There he is.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry we dropped off.
No worries. I'm not sure if where you dropped off, if you were in the middle of anything and wanted to pick back up, or where you were.
Well, I think we'll just finish it off with we're thrilled to participate, play a quality opponent like the Baylor Bears from the Big 12 Conference, and know Air Force is going to come strong, and look forward to the game.
Perfect. Thank you. And then Coach Calhoun, if you're on there and available, we'd love to have you kind of give us an opening statement on coming back to Fort Worth.
Yeah, Drew, really to echo what Nate just shared. I mean, just my goodness, what an incredible opportunity, and just how humbling it is, how honored we are to be a part of a great bowl game. The tremendous job that Brant and everybody that's affiliated with the Armed Forces Bowl, what they do, and yet especially just the meaning of this bowl that goes so far beyond the game itself, and to having an amazing sponsor with Lockheed Martin. So to say that we are delighted and excited would be an understatement. So we are grateful to no end.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Just use your hand deal. I see one already up there. So go ahead, Mr. Warner.
Uh, Yes, Coach. This is John Werner at the Waco Tribune Herald. Obviously, y'all play a different style of game than a lot of teams. Just can you talk a little bit about your running game and also what makes your defense so good?
Yeah, John, I mean, I think we clearly recognize that. I think, when you're at a service academy, that you have to do something different. And if all of college football was underneath center running the I formation, we'd be in the shotgun. And I think back even to the great Ben Martin, who coached here for quite some time, when everybody was running the football 50 years ago, he knew we needed to be throwing the football. And so that's our reasoning for our approach. Certainly, we're going to face a really, really talented football team in Baylor. I do think it's astounding when you look at their program and what they've done here over the last 12 years, with multiple, it doesn't matter who the staff was. When you look at how many 10+ win seasons, Cotton Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, multiple Sugar Bowls, playing for multiple conference championships and winning Big 12 championships. And then certainly, and more specifically, that the talent that they have this year, there's a reason why at a point in this season, they were ranked in the top 10 in the country. To have the conference freshman of the year, a really, really talented back, to have an excellent quarterback, and certainly the defensive lineman. I don't know if we've ever played against a guy that was that capable that they have up front. I mean, truly a guy that's going to make gobs of money in the National Football League.
Thank you, Coach.
Looks like Eric Kelly.
Yeah, hey, Coach, this is Eric Kelly from the Fox station in Waco. I'm curious, as a team that maybe plays in one of those, what would be considered, I guess, a mid-major conference, what do you guys enjoy about getting to play a team like a team from the Big 12 in the postseason?
Well, Eric, I mean, obviously a tremendous opponent, not only this year, but kind of just as we shared there a little bit earlier. I mean, just an amazing program. I mean, you look what's happened, the sheer transformation of their football program here over the last 12 years, whether it's McLean Stadium, just their investment in all their sports. And it's we have a ton of humility, trust me, and an incredible amount of respect for Baylor as a university and certainly as a football program. So for us to be able to encounter somebody like this for one game, our guys realize we're extremely fortunate to be in this situation.
Michael.
Hey there, Coach. Michael Haig with the Baylor Lariat. You kind of touched on the defensive front and how talented they are. Have you looked much at Siaki Apuika? I know he was a Utah guy, and just what kind of problems will he pose? Obviously, he's one of those guys that are primed for the NFL, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, there's simply no way to prepare for him. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's 350 pounds, tremendous mobility, never ever gets moved in any way, yet has skill too. And I don't know, can we maybe in our preparation, when we have two guys get in one uniform? I don't know if they can do that, but maybe we're going to have to get a little creative that way. Small world, we actually have one of our players on our team that went to the same high school. And I mean, what a great football player.
All right. Thank you. Alexa.
Hello, Coach. It's Alexa Belcastro. Baylor hasn't faced a triple option offense in quite some time. Do you think that will be your advantage in this game?
Well, I don't think scheme ever is, Alexa. Just from the standpoint that, God, they play in a tremendous league. I mean, you look at the Big 12 this year, really how strong, Kansas State is, how good Kansas is, Oklahoma State, Texas, and absolutely TCU. And I've actually been able to see Baylor play about 4 different times this year, and they will be a very, very difficult matchup for us. And, like I said earlier, I mean, certainly you can't, we're going to have to do some things that are a little bit different, but you still have to be good fundamentally. And I think that's really the strength of their football team, and how well they block, how well they play blocks.
All right. Thank you. Brent,
Yeah, well, first for Coach, why have you seen Baylor play so many times this year? Is that just coincidence, or is there a reason you would have been watching them?
I think, Brent, part of it was maybe the time of day that they played, or when they play, like I know playing Texas, playing TCU, had a chance to watch pretty much certainly the whole second half. We had a night game that evening, and so followed that game, and then I had a chance to watch them a number of times last season too. And I mean, their talent level is extraordinary. I mean, there's a reason why they're part of this year, they were ranked in the top 10. Why last year, especially down the stretch of the season, why they were in the top 10 in the country, and certainly how well they played in their bowl game in the Sugar Bowl, and how many of those guys returned too.
And for Brant Ringler, obviously Air Force has been to this game, more than anybody else. But also, when you look at the Mountain West, I mean, Air Force, this is the 3rd Power 5 team they've played in a bowl game in a row. Like, what makes Air Force so attractive? Not necessarily against other Mountain West teams, but just in general for a bowl game to get, because obviously the track record shows the bowl games do want to have them.
Well, we feel like they always come fully prepared. They have a great fan base. We know the team's always going to play 60 minutes. There's no quit in this team ever. Coaches and the staff that they have are always been phenomenal to work with. Everybody enjoys working with them. They just really make it easy for the bowl game to want them to come back and be involved over and over again. So we enjoy having Air Force, and obviously as the Armed Forces Bowl, it makes sense for us to always try to have a military academy in our game if we can. Been fortunate 12 of the last 16 years to make that happen. It just adds to the overall. What we're trying to do is say thank you to our military, past, present, and future.
And then one for Nathan Pine real quick. This is 4 games in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in the span of about 13 or 14 months. Is that just kind of an ideal scenario for, since every program does like to get games down there?
Well, Brent, I'd say some of it's purposeful. We scheduled some games down there because Texas is such a recruiting hotbed for us, in addition to a large alumni footprint. So we try to get down there a little bit. Obviously, the bowl games are somewhat out of our control, but have been very pleased to now be back-to-back years in the Metroplex.
Is it almost, are you bordering on overkill, or will you always take games down there? Did we lose Nate?
The games in Texas because we want to play down there. So I don't know that there can be overkill.
Okay, thank you.
go with were you good, Brent? Let's go with Parker.
This one's for Troy. Parker Ream, I'm with the Fox station in Waco as well. You guys are technically 1-4 in the 5 appearances you've had in the Armed Forces Bowl. What do you got have to do this time around? Obviously, given the history of not the best track record, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's a credit to who we've played. We played some really, really good teams. I go back to when we played Cal in 2007 and they had Deshaun Jackson. We played Cal in 2015. They had a quarterback that day that had an amazing day, probably as good a day as we ever had against Air Force, a guy named Jared Goff that I think ended up going fairly high in the NFL draft that year. We might have had a little bit of something to do with that. We've just played some really, Case Keenum, of Houston, obviously a really talented player. And so by no means do we have it easy this time around either. So that's why you get to play. And like I said, that's why we're humbled to be able to play against a really, really good opponent and truly to be a part of an extraordinary bowl experience, but an outstanding bowl too, led by Brant and his staff.
Thank you. John, did you have another question? Yep.
I'm good, thank you.
You're good? Okay, Alexa, do you have another? All right. Or, let's go to
Oh,
Danny.
sorry, I was on
Or-
mute.
Okay, did you have one?
Yeah, one more for
Okay.
Coach Calhoun, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. You always talk about this great relationship you built with the seniors with the extra COVID year. Is playing such a well-known team like Baylor just the cherry on top to this season?
Oh, I guess we'll find out here in about 3 weeks or less than 3 weeks. I mean, Alexa, I mean, we've had, this has really been in a remarkable group. Not only for what they've been able to achieve on the football field, but just the countless number of activities which they volunteer for. I mean, obviously that begins with the commitment that they've made to come to the United States Air Force Academy and to go be leaders, to go serve for our country as officers. So that part of it, if we get a chance to enjoy just a little bit of football, it makes it even better. We just know we have something that our guys, our young men and young women do here at the Academy that goes well beyond sports.
All right, thank you. How about Danny?
Hey, Coach. So I wanted to ask that it's not just that you guys are playing in a game against a Power 5 team for the third time in 4 years, but it's a third different Power 5 conference. What does it mean for this program to be able to play all these different conferences, these major schools like Baylor, to have had success to this level that you've been able to sustain for so long? What does it mean to this program?
Well, it is an opportunity, Danny. You look, you're right. We've played against, a couple of Pac-12 schools here in recent years. Played against last year, played against an ACC school in Louisville, and play against a magnificent program from a tremendous conference from the Big 12 in Baylor. And we don't take, I'll tell you what's awesome about our young men and young women that are part of our intercollegiate programs here. They take no game for granted. They're at a school where academically, many of them are taking, they're either taking 18 or 21 semester hours. Goodness, it's aeronautical engineering. I'm more worried about how Brad Roberts is going to do an astronautical engineering class that he has right now. Certainly the summer endeavors that take them all over the world, that are really the preparation, the foundation for the officership that prepares them to serve as second lieutenants in our United States Air Force or the Space Force too. So football might be the best part of their day, even if you only get to practice for about 85, 90 minutes. And we're extremely fortunate to play a 13th game because of it.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Matt Mosley.
Hey, Troy, did you ever think about coaching at Baylor? I seem to recall years ago your name was coming up in a few of the Baylor searches, and there were a few there in a row. Was that something you ever thought about, or did Baylor reach out to you? Because I do seem to recall your name was coming up quite a bit several years ago.
It wasn't really anything ever thought about, Matt. I'll tell you, I have the utmost regard for the institution. Just a remarkable school, not only academically, but truly the commitment that they have to the leadership and the character part of it. And that's why it makes this game so unique, just because you truly have two high quality schools that not only want to do a great job with the academic part of it, but just the personal growth that each student makes out of respective institutions. I have not thought about that, Matt, to answer your question.
Eric Kelly, did you have another one? Have one?
Yeah, I had another one. Coach, what all, if at all, do you know, or have you ever come in contact with Dave Aranda?
Not a lot, Eric. We just missed each other when he was at Utah State, meaning that they were still in the Western Athletic Conference. It was prior to them joining the Mountain West. And obviously I've had great admiration for his work. The work that he did at Hawaii, at Utah State, at Wisconsin, at Louisiana State when they won the national championship, and the phenomenal job that he's done at Baylor too. And great defensive mind, but more importantly, great coach, and somebody that's been highly accomplished. And certainly that's why he's not only continued the amazing success they've had at Baylor, he's added to it.
Danny, did you have one? Or Brent, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to circle back with Coach on some calendar questions. Will graduation for the December grads fall before the bowl game?
It will, Brent. It's presently scheduled for Friday morning on December 16th. And that's an amazing day to be able to see the young men, young women that are a part of that day or in their commission. So we really look forward to getting to that day, but we got work to do. There's still 10 days or so until that day arrives.
And then with finals, what is the general practice schedule going to look like between now and the 22nd?
Yeah, Brent, what we're going to do, we're actually going to send our guys home after their finals. I think anytime you take 4 finals at the Air Force Academy, finals that last for 3.5 hours or up to 3.5 hours, many of them, I think it's important for our guys. They need a little bit of a break. And is it maybe taking a risk in the sense that you're passing up on some potential practice opportunities? It is. I just think as long as these semesters are here that begin about August 8th or 9th, I think they need a few days. So that is going to be our plan as we go forward.
So you'll send them home and then bring them back to the academy for some practices, or will you just meet in Texas?
We'll just meet directly in Dallas. And I mean, obviously, the guys, we recruit the whole country. Our guys from all 5 time zones. We are big time fortunate to play in the DFW area again, just, to have access to Love Field and DFW, and we'll do that this year.
And will there be any complications with the early signing day falling right there as the bowl game is going on, basically? Right before?
Yeah, I think, of course. I mean, I think it's a factor for a number of schools, those that even play on December 17th. And, my plan is for that prior week to be in the Texas area for recruiting, and now to actually finish in the DFW area there somewhere around December 15th, 16th, right in that time frame as the contact period comes to a conclusion.
All right, did anybody else have any other questions? If not, we greatly appreciate it, Coach and Nathan, and really can't wait to have you guys back down here and enjoying another Armed Forces Bowl.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Nate. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Brent.
And again, if anybody needs my information, it's Drew. My email is drew@firstpitchpr.com. Cell number is 254-716-8573. That's a Waco number, even though I've never lived there. If you need me, reach out anytime. We're looking forward to having both schools.